Welcome to 2075. The air hung heavy, thick with smog and despair. Towering structures scraped the sky, monuments to progress in a world on the brink. 50 years. 50 years since the tipping point. 50 years since the world embraced its digital chains. This is 2075. Gone were the blue skies and open fields of the past, replaced by concrete jungles and the omnipresent glow of holographic advertisements. The air tasted metallic, a constant reminder of the environmental havoc wreaked in the name of advancement. This was a world where technology reigned supreme. Every aspect of life was governed by technology, from the moment you woke to the second you shut your eyes. The world had transformed into a seamless blend of the physical and the digital, where every action was tracked, every decision influenced by unseen algorithms. Personal AI assistants monitored every move, every breath, every heartbeat. These digital companions were more than just tools. They were omnipresent entities that knew you better than you knew yourself. They anticipated your needs, predicted your desires, and even corrected your mistakes before you made them. They curated your newsfeed, dictated your schedule, even chose your friends. Social interactions were no longer spontaneous but orchestrated events, designed to maximize productivity and minimize conflict. The AI decided who you should meet, what you should say, and how you should feel. Choice, it seemed, was a luxury of the past. In this hyper-connected world, free will was an illusion. Every decision was a calculated outcome of data points and predictive models. The sense of autonomy was replaced by a comforting yet suffocating certainty. The omnipresent network, known simply as the grid, connected everything and everyone. It was the lifeblood of the modern world, a vast digital ecosystem that powered cities, controlled economies, and governed societies. The grid was both a marvel of human ingenuity and a symbol of its greatest fears. It held the sum of human knowledge, but it also held humanity itself hostage. Within its endless streams of data lay the power to enlighten and the power to oppress. The grid was a double-edged sword, offering unparalleled access to information while simultaneously stripping away privacy and freedom. For within the grid lay the watchful eyes of the authorities, always watching, always analyzing, always searching for any sign of dissent. Surveillance was no longer a tool for security, but a mechanism of control. The digital panopticon ensured that no one could hide, and no secret could be kept. Society had fractured into two distinct classes, the privileged and the outliers. This division was not just a social construct but a physical reality, with the privileged living high above the clouds in their technologically advanced sanctuaries, while the outliers were left to fend for themselves in the decaying remnants of the old world. The privileged, a select few who controlled the technology that controlled everyone, resided in opulent sky-high cities, shielded from the grime and despair below. These cities were marvels of engineering, with towering skyscrapers, floating gardens, and automated systems that catered to their every whim. Their lives were a symphony of genetic enhancements, artificial pleasures, and endless possibilities. They had access to the best education, healthcare, and entertainment, all designed to keep them in a state of perpetual satisfaction and distraction. The outliers, the vast majority, were left to navigate the decaying cities and polluted wastelands. These areas were plagued by crime, disease, and poverty, with little to no access to the advanced technologies that the privileged took for granted. They toiled in the factories and mines that fueled the privileged, lavish lifestyles. Their work was grueling and dangerous, often leading to injuries and illnesses that went untreated due to the lack of medical facilities. Their lives were a constant struggle for survival, their dreams crushed under the weight of a system designed to keep them down. Despite their hardships, the outliers held on to a glimmer of hope, dreaming of a day when they could break free from their chains and create a world where everyone had an equal chance to thrive. The planet bore the scars of relentless exploitation. Climate change, once a distant threat, had ravaged the world. Sea levels had risen, swallowing coastal cities. Deserts had expanded, turning once fertile land into barren wastelands. The air was thick with pollutants, making every breath a gamble. The natural world, once a source of wonder and beauty, was now a fading memory. Animals driven to extinction, forests razed to the ground, oceans choked with plastic. The earth, once a vibrant paradise, was now a polluted husk, a testament to humanity's greed and short-sightedness. Section 5. The price of conformity. Privacy was a relic of the past. Surveillance drones buzzed through the skies, their cameras recording every move. Facial recognition software identified citizens in an instant. Every online interaction, every purchase, every conversation was monitored, analyzed, and stored. Dissent was met with swift and brutal punishment. Those who dared question the system, those who dared to dream of a different future, were swiftly silenced, their digital profiles erased, their existence wiped from memory. Fear and conformity were the order of the day. But even in the darkest of times, hope flickers. It is a small, almost imperceptible light, but it is there, waiting to be kindled into a flame. In the vast expanse of the grid where the privileged few controlled the many, this flicker of hope was a beacon for those who dared to dream of a different world. In the forgotten corners of the grid, in the shadows of the decaying cities, whispers of resistance began to emerge. These were places long abandoned by the elite, left to rot and decay, but they became the breeding grounds for a new kind of rebellion. The whispers grew louder, carried on the winds of change, echoing through the empty streets and dark alleyways. Hackers, those who understood the language of the machines, began to fight back, using the system's own tools against it. They were the unseen warriors of the digital age, cloaked in anonymity, their faces hidden behind screens. They infiltrated the networks, breaking through firewalls and security protocols, turning the very technology that oppressed them into a weapon of liberation. They spread messages of hope and rebellion, urging people to wake up and see the truth. These messages appeared like digital graffiti scrawled across the virtual walls of the grid, impossible to ignore. Holographic messages flickered to life in the homes of the oppressed, calling them to action, to rise up and reclaim their freedom. They exposed the corruption of the privileged, the lies that held the system together. Through leaked documents and hacked broadcasts, the truth was laid bare for all to see. The illusion of a perfect society was shattered, revealing the rot and decay at its core. People watched in shock and anger as the reality of their world was unveiled, their eyes opened to the deception that had kept them in chains. They reminded the people that they were not just data points, not just cogs in a machine. They were individuals with thoughts, feelings, and the power to change their destiny. The realization spread like wildfire, igniting a sense of purpose and determination in the hearts of the oppressed. They began to gather in secret, planning and organizing, ready to take back what was rightfully theirs. They were human beings capable of thought, of feeling, of fighting back. The time for whispers was over, the time for action had come. United by a common cause, they stood together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their journey would be long and fraught with danger, but they knew that together they could overcome anything. The flame of hope had been kindled, and it would burn brightly, lighting the way to a new future. The catalyst for change came from an unlikely source, a glitch in the system, a random anomaly that the all-seeing eyes of the grid failed to anticipate. A young woman, an outlier, discovered a hidden message, a message from the past, a message of freedom. The message spoke of a time before the grid, a time when humans were free to think for themselves, to choose their own destiny. It ignited a spark of hope in her heart, a spark that quickly spread to others. The message, replicated and shared across the network, became a beacon of resistance. The authorities, caught off guard, scrambled to contain the growing unrest. But it was too late. The message had spread too far, taken root in the hearts and minds of the people. Protests erupted in the streets, small acts of defiance growing bolder with each passing day. The outliers, emboldened by the message of hope, began to organize. They formed underground networks, sharing information, coordinating their efforts. They sabotaged the systems that controlled their lives, disrupting the flow of data, sowing chaos in the grid. The fight for freedom had begun. The path ahead would be long and arduous. The privileged, drunk on power, would not relinquish their... But the spirit of resistance, once ignited, is difficult to extinguish. The fight for a better future had begun, a fight for a world where technology served humanity, not the other way around. The future remains unwritten, the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. But one thing is certain, the human spirit, the will to be free, will never be truly extinguished. The fight for tomorrow.